Welcome back to another episode of Scryer's Room. I am your host, Fanfare.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mario.
And today we're going to talk about a certain special someone. We've been on a lot of special someone rants these days, but this one really takes the cake. We're not trying to dox anybody, but everyone is allowed to go to Twitter, and therefore I don't feel bad about explaining.
Oh no, this guy's famous enough that we don't need to worry about doxing him.
I hate that sentence, that he's famous enough. I guess he is. I suppose he is.
He's a prolific author.
Yeah, that he is. That he is.
Small correction. He's not a special someone. He's the world's greatest author. Chuck Tingle. Self-proclaimed.
Yeah, it fucking is.
Also self-named doctor.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's Dr. Chuck Tingle.
But, can you do that?
He did. Which, to start off, he writes a particular genre of fiction, and I'm the only person among us that spent money on his products. I bought 3 books.
Yep.
Which are actually like 5, because every one of the air quotes novels is actually 2 stories. Right. They're super short.
The concepts don't exactly lend themselves to full book-length stories, but there's quite a lot of content to parse through.
Yeah, so I have the Space Raptor Butt Invasion, first only in the trilogy.
I'm sorry, there's no other parts of the trilogy? It's just called a trilogy with one book?
No, I just own the first one.
Oh, okay.
There's a trilogy, though. And then I have...
What was I thinking?
What were you thinking, man?
I genuinely thought it was more believable that he called something a trilogy and then only wrote 1 book, rather than there being 3 space lizard butt invasions.
So then I have Turned Gay by the Existential Dread, that I may actually be a character in a Chuck Tingle book.
That's pretty meta.
He's very meta with his stuff a lot of the time. And then I own... This is... those first 2... were before he had decided he was a doctor. And then, so now this one is Dr. Chuck Tingle's
postgraduate
complete guide to romance.
Oh, I wonder what the Tingle has to say about romance. So
it's a guide explaining how you romance the various types of beings, whether it's a big feet or a dinosaur or a living object. And they have different things they're attracted to.
What are the chocolate milk cowboys attracted to?
So that would be a living object, and living objects are basically they enjoy being taken care of, because as an object they're used to being abandonment,
right?
People getting rid of them.
People objectify them.
So
I hate how that makes sense.
Yeah. So
I hate how that makes sense.
I at no point assumed he didn't put thought into this. I'm 100% no. He's got reasons for what he's doing.
And
couldn't have filled the book otherwise.
They're more into a tender style of love and being taken care of, opposed to say a Bigfoot, which responds more to aggression. You got to really stand your ground with a Bigfoot,
right? Of course,
and they appreciate it when you're more direct and more aggressive in general.
That's ironic for a known elusive creature to prefer direct communication.
Yeah, that's strange.
They're around in the books.
Yeah, I bet there's plenty of big feet in his books.
And I honestly don't remember what dinosaurs respond to.
Is it big feet or Big's foot?
Big's foot sounds way better.
There's actually a debate around that, whether you call them Bigfoots or Big Feet. He goes with Big Feet.
Okay.
For the plural. Yeah. But yeah, so if you didn't catch on, he writes very interesting gay erotica.
The Wise Man's Butt is an all-time favorite in this house.
Which approved by what's his name? Wise Man's Fear, Patrick Rothfuss.
Oh man.
And Neil Gaiman.
I remember seeing the Twitter chat. God bless that happened. That did happen.
So Patrick Rothfuss is very much aware of the Tingler.
The Tingler!
Which also is what he calls his books. They're tinglers because
my god,
because they send a tingle down your spine.
Yeah, I bet they fucking do if you're of a mind.
And yeah, they're actually written upsettingly well.
No.
He's fairly talented, and
I mean, he's got the practice in, doesn't he?
Yeah, like I read those books that I own, except not all of the romance guide, but those other two I did actually read in full, and
he just read the part of the romance guide relevant to him. You see,
whatever. And then, yeah, so his prose is actually pretty fucking good, to the point it's annoying, and then he's not shy about descriptions. They're pretty fucking graphic.
God bless.
He knows his niche. That's I can't imagine him pussyfooting around with any of his descriptions of various dinosaurs and gigantos and their butts and penises and whatnot.
Yep, which he apparently has a full-length novel, because those other books are usually only like 60 pages.
Right, like novellas.
Super short. And then even then, they're split up into basically like 2 short stories. Apparently he does have a full-length novel, which I believe is titled Helicopter Man Pounds Billionaire Dinosaur in the Butt.
That's not real. That's not a real title.
You bet it is.
Chuck Tingle's writing, Chuck Tingle's like premise style, I would call very similar to a child playing with action figures deciding they're having gay sex.
Yeah, you can have an entire evening of just reading off Chuck Tingle titles, which a couple off the top of my head. Unicorn Lawyer Screams Into My Butthole Legally.
As opposed to illegally.
He's a lawyer. Or there's he dips his toe into the horror genre. He's got Happy Birthday Frankenstein, Now Pound My Butt.
That's nice. It's a birthday surprise.
His entire series.
Wait, Dr. Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster?
On the cover art, it's a Frankenstein's monster, so I assume he means Frankenstein's monster.
That's fair. We call them Frankensteins on
Or
occasion.
it's Dr. Frankenstein creating Frankenstein and wants the Frankenstein's monster to pound his butt. I'm not sure. I haven't read that one.
It would be his birthday, wouldn't it?
Yeah. God bless.
The lightning strikes, and now it's time to take me to Pound Town.
Which is exactly the type of thing he would write, so I'm sure that's the premise of that one.
Oh, man.
Then he has an entire series about Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, and he fudges the name up. I don't remember how, but it's like Vladimir Putin or something like that.
Oh, man.
Where they have weird sex, where it's like
They're like
Donald Trump asking Vladimir Putin to pee on his butt while getting the recording of his butt being peed on or some shit like that. Is one of them. Oh my
god. They need Jesus.
He's got a lot of stuff.
Don't let Jesus anywhere near them.
So
I bet
turn water into wine in Jesus' ass.
When Jesus decided to die for our sins, he saw Chuck Tingle writing those books and still said, "You know what? I'm gonna do it." Absolute legend.
There's
it's all for the noble cause.
The meme of like when Jesus gave his life for our sins in the gardens of Gethsemane, he saw all the sins that would be committed by man.
Exactly.
And saw a man blasting rope to Waluigi porn and still said, "I'll do it."
Yeah, man. He seen it all.
So Chuck Tingle's mission is to prove that love is real, which is his catchphrase, is that love is real. So if you find him on Twitter, his style of dress is a karate gi. Because he's self-proclaimed black belt. And
his doctorate's in karate.
He wears a sack on his head with sunglasses, and on the front of the sack is written "Love is real."
That's how he goes out and about?
Last time I checked, yeah.
When he's in persona.
And a persona he has, because there's an entire, certainly fake origin of who he is, and
we can only pray.
His also almost certainly fake son John, who he only refers to as son John, who has nice calves. And
he's not real.
Probably not. Son John is
Pray.
the character he uses to interact with people, and not as Dr. Chuck Tingle. Because Dr. Chuck Tingle is apparently a mentally unwell man who, I believe they gave a pitch that he's got like some kind of like autism or something. And Son John takes care of him and helps him edit these stories because it seems to be a healthy outlet for his father. So you can find threads on Reddit, for example, of Son John doing like an Ask Me Anything, and he explains the origin of his father and like why he writes these stories.
This is so much more involved than I thought it was.
I didn't know he had lore.
There's a whole
Oh,
mythology.
man. Wow.
And then conversely, you can find threads that are from Dr. Chuck Tingle, who has a very distinctive writing style of like the way he talks, and answering questions, which are usually very like nonsensical, where, for example, or even just asking about normal things, where it's like he was asking about, I think it's how do you play the game like Dead by Daylight or something, but he didn't call it Dead by Daylight. He called it Hackman Slash Game.
Hackman Slash Game. Of course.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that is what it is, but...
Yeah. And so that's kind of the meme, is that when he makes posts or whatever or anything,
When he's more lucid, he's Son John.
people who are in the know, they just will put like, "Thank you for your work, Dr. Chuck Tingle. Love is real." Like, and he'll just like heart respond or something.
That's
you know?
excellent. Okay, wow, that's a lot more than you gave me a lot more than I thought I was asking for.
I went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It sounds like it, man.
There's quite a rabbit hole to go down, it sounds like.
Son John, like Son Goku.
Also, I suppose I didn't really give it any, like, conscious thought. Are most of his stories, like, more romantic than just, like, lustful butt fucking?
It always turns into that, but it's also that like these characters are truly in love now, and it like benefits their lives. And then
The dinosaur and the helicopter are in love.
yep.
All right.
How does a helicopter feel love?
So
With rotors.
tenderness. You gotta care for them. For example, the second story in one of those that I own, I might be Space Raptor Butt Invasion, is about a trucker
Of course.
who's he's had because of his job, his relationship's getting kind of rocky with his girlfriend, and
Yeah, you're always on the road.
you know, he's not sure about things.
Yeah. On top of that, he might be gay for space lizards.
And no, it stops at a diner
Oh.
that has a big old sign with a lumberjack. And so he's just sitting down, orders a burger, and eating his meal, and he starts hearing a voice. It's like, "Hey, you new around here? I haven't seen you before." He's like, "Who's talking to me?" And then
What?
he's like, "I am." It's the diner.
He fucks that diner?
And so they just talk to him, and feels real comfortable. And he's like, "Hey man, why don't you come down to the basement?" So he goes down to the basement, and he's like, "Go around that corner." And then he goes around that corner, and there's just an ass sticking out of the wall.
Oh.
And he's like overcome with lust. Like, I forget how we get there, but it's like they really connect.
Right. Yeah.
You really connect with that butt.
The diner's a real good guy.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so he just
You're always slinging hash, and I'm always on the road. We don't really, like, have the ability to connect with other people. I just feel like a real connection with this diner.
yeah.
Fucking
That's
Christ.
why it started the conversation. He's like, "I haven't seen you before. Like, I know my customers.
Yeah.
Like, how you doing? Like, what's going on? Blah 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 blah." So he fucks the butt.
Right. Was
naturally.
management okay with that?
No one else seems to be bothered by this. They never are.
Okay.
And
I like how that in places that's happened in multiple situations, in multiple books.
so he does his thing, and Diner's just like, "No, come to the roof." And
Now come to the roof.
yeah.
Oh, man.
so he's
The
like,
other end, right?
He's like, "Oh," and he hurries up there, like still like all hot and bothered, and then
Right.
there's just a penis sticking out of the roof.
Of the roof?
Yeah, and he knows what he has to do, and so he just rides that thing. And
What? Why the roof?
Well, because it's on the other side of the butt.
I can't.
Yeah. I hate how that makes sense.
You go further down the water line, I bet you find a
World's
mouth.
greatest author.
Fuck, man.
They have mind-blowing sex, and then he has some self-discovery, and then goes back down to finish his dinner, and then he asks the waitress, like, "You guys have any openings?"
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
down in the basement.
Get it? Ah, got him.
So yeah, he then presumably gets a job at the diner, and now is boyfriends with the building.
All right, let me paint a little picture for you two and anyone listening. Imagine your boyfriend is a trucker. You don't see him for long lengths of time, and frankly, it's starting to get under your skin a little bit. It's getting into the relationship, but he's off on a job, and you can't talk to him until he gets back. Really, because if you just call him, he needs to be on the radio. He can't really communicate with you that thoroughly while he's driving, and it's hard. And then you finally hear back from him, and you're like, oh, he must be done with this last haul. And he has started a gay relationship with a business.
Yeah. Don't you mean he's in business with a gay relationship?
All of the above.
Yeah.
Not only is he gay, he's gay with a diner.
These things happen in the
Living
Tingleverse,
objects, man. The living objects.
He calls it the Tingleverse.
God
It's its own
bless.
multiverse,
God
which
bless America.
brings me to my next story. This one's a little less wholesome. Actually, pretty much not wholesome at all.
The other one was pushing it.
This one's more wholesome without the W.
Yeah.
Boo!
I really wish I could make the clown honk noise at will.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So imagine we're in Wild West type era, and there's a courier, and he's been given a box. He doesn't know what is contained in the box, but he's got to get to the president.
My gut says it's gay sex in there.
He got to get to the president.
So he's making his way, and then he's accosted by a glass of chocolate milk.
Oh, shit.
The size of a man. It's wearing a cowboy hat.
What? Why does it have a cowboy? I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about earlier with the cowboy.
And opens up with,
What do you mean?
"Howdy, stranger."
Howdy!
How would you say hello? It's Wild West times.
And then
Fuck, dude.
middle. It explains we're the chocolate milk cowboys, and then it tips and starts to spill its chocolate milk, which forms into chocolate men, chocolate milkmen.
Oh.
And then they basically just
Bang him.
You want a train on his ass?
have their way with him, and then
God damn.
which in the struggle, he has opened the box, which has a button in it, and so he presses the button, and the next thing he knows, it's reset, and now he's back to just being around his campfire right before "Howdy, stranger," except this time sounds a little bit more erotic. And
I thought it was going to be like he's prepared this time. He has the upper hand. Now he fucks the chocolate milk.
Nope. Now the chocolate milk is seems a bit gayer.
Oh, the gaying button.
Seems to be more. He somehow gets the impression of like a chiseled jaw from it. And,
From a glass of chocolate milk.
Yep. And repeat, the same scenario happens, but what the button does is every time you press it, you get transported into a deeper layer of the Tingleverse where things are gayer. And then he's now gay.
And the president wanted
And so
this.
now he's enjoying it. And so he just... Then, like, the end of the story is basically he's mindlessly mashing the button until he gets to the center of the Tingleverse, which is made of abs.
Oh, it's just rock hard abs.
It's gay nirvana.
That's it? Just abs?
Yep.
They're pretty great.
Empty head, no thoughts, just abs. Huh.
Just slick chocolate milky abs.
I hate this. I hate this. I don't like it. This is what the right wing nut jobs are mad about, and they're right. In fact, they're right to be mad about this. I too am mad.
All
about
I can think
this.
about is that he has like the creative style of if Stephen King was only allowed to make and watch anime.
God, yeah.
And also was gay, obviously.
It's like JoJo's meets
I mean, it's those
Tingle,
shitty
yeah.
isekai where it's like, oh, now I'm a fucking vending machine in a dungeon, and somehow I'm the main character of this fucking story, or I accidentally got a girl pregnant in a dungeon or some shit. But it's just like, what if it was gay and Stephen King had to do it?
And it's about a chocolate milk fucking a man.
Yeah.
I can't.
So, one thing I don't know is if he's actually gay or not. I assume so, since he
You
writes
think he's just
so much.
running into a market?
There's no way that you're like, hey, are you like even a little bit gay? And he's like, no.
How lame.
Yeah, no,
Because he also does lesbian stuff.
At the very least, he'll be like, sexuality is a spectrum.
But either way, whatever his orientation is, I'm pretty positive how he got here was that he's like, I'm pretty good at writing. Like,
Yeah.
what's a weird market? Like, gay erotica. How can I take this up a notch? And then he just went full absurdist with it. And it paid off. Like, it worked.
Yeah, he went full tilt.
And then he just crafted this bizarre, weird universe where you can get fucked by chocolate milk and diners can be your nice boyfriends and there's dinosaur men.
That's a Tingler.
You know what? I actually have a
Bigfoot,
problem
big
with the
feet.
diner story now. I have a problem with it, and I'll tell you what it is. A trucker can earn like $80,000 to $90,000 a year relatively easily. It's a shitty job and it's hard, but like my grandfather was a trucker. I know about them, and if you have your own truck, especially, you can make some really good money. It's very stressful, hard on your body. You know what you make at a diner? Even if the diner's your boyfriend and paying you the most that anyone in the diner is getting paid. What, like 40 grand a year? Terrible, terrible life move for him.
You're asking the wrong questions.
Listen, but it's about being happy. It's about being happy and the friends you make along the way, all right?
What's that versus real love?
Love is real, Kevin.
He had a girlfriend in the same situation. He could just keep visiting the diner.
Hey, man.
He doesn't get it. This
What are
guy
you gonna-
doesn't get it.
I don't get it.
What are the things we do for love, you know?
The things I do for love.
And, yeah, that's... I don't have much more to say other than how I got here was... I think it was Will posted one of the covers
Right.
in a chat. And that...
Yeah, because he has some surreal-ass covers.
Oh, yeah.
that-
He's really got that down to a science.
I was like, that's hilarious. That can't be a real book.
right.
And then I went down a rabbit hole because, yes, indeed,
With even a
each
cursory
one of those
Googling.
is a book.
Okay, so another example of that, Quan Mills.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She's got roaches in her.
This hoe got roaches in her apartment.
That's what it was.
And then part two, this hoe has roaches and now rats in her apartment. And
And
it's like this guy...
It keeps going further, and it's like this host still has roaches and rats in her
I
apartment.
didn't know there's a third one. That's hilarious.
There's
And I love how each cover is just the guy with like his hands on his head just being blown.
like, how can you live this way?
Quan Mills.
What is the name of the musician? Oh fuck, Ram Ranch.
Grant
Oh,
McDonald.
yeah. Grant
oh,
McDonald.
man.
Yes.
Yeah. So I spiraled whatever, and then like that day I bought those books and I like quickly read it because they were really short, and
Yeah.
then I was like talking about it, and then I got a response from Will that was basically ... Are you actually reading them? Like,
What are you insane?
which I say, fuck you, Will. This is my Ram Ranch, all right? Like,
Will does listen to all the Ram Ranch.
yes.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, like...
Double standard, my man.
Yeah.
Okay, so my buddy I went to Nova with brought up to me that, like, you know, I think he just picks random numbers for the Ram Ranch videos. They're not in the sequential order. To which Will responded, oh no, they're in sequential order, just most of them get taken down because they're way too fucking graphic.
Right, because they're Ram Ranch.
Because they're Ram Ranch.
Knowledge
What?
of this, like, like, you already know why it would be taken down.
Yeah, anyone who is familiar with Ram Ranch knows exactly what we're
Yeah.
talking about. And if you're not familiar with Ram Ranch, Google at your own peril.
The only people
Google
who
at
are...
your own
Same
peril.
with Chuck Tingle. But at least Chuck Tingle, if you just look at those covers, you'll have a good time. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, if you want to read something and maybe feel a little bit, grow as a person, learn more about love than this old fool who doesn't even understand dating a diner.
Hey, man. Or if you're just actually into gay erotica, go for it. He's very descriptive.
God.
His writing is too good for what it is. Seriously, like, I was, like, angry about it.
His just prose to be envious of is not what you'd expect out of a gay erotica novel.
Right, you imagine that his work is going to
Not only
seem
that, they're, like,
more...
well-paced, too. Like, it's absurd. Like, why... that he chose to do this is insane. Like, he could have just been a regular... Maybe he is. Maybe, like, he has, like, another pen name or his real name that he goes under and writes real books.
He's Terry Pratchett.
Oh, no.
No, that was too much. That was... I don't want to... I don't want to besmirch the knight himself.
Yeah, don't you talk about Sir Pratchett that way.
Yeah,
His meteorite sword, his incredible stories. Nothing in the face of the Tingleverse, really.
Well, yeah, that's how I know so much about Chuck Tingle. Dr. Chuck Tingle.
He's not a fucking doctor!
Two-time Hugo Award nominee.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, nominee? Okay. I thought you were
put-
going to say winner. I was going to say no.
Every time
that
he's like nominated for something, he'll put it on the books. So like like you can find the books that's like one-time Hugo Award nominee or Hugo Award nominee, and then the next further down in his list of publications, he has two-time Hugo Award nominee.
So which of his books got nominated for Hugos?
I don't remember, but it was basically
Gay sex, probably.
like fans as like a meme just came together and flooded it with nominees for him.
Yeah,
Like-
that's how that had to have gone down.
Yeah.
And then of course it gets to the judges and they probably just throw it out immediately.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, easy. Like what the fuck is this? And they just burn that shit.
Yeah, I can't imagine the second time when it happened. They're
Oh,
just
God
like,
damn it.
yeah, they're just like, God fucking damn it.
It's crazy that he's so good at writing because you have to like imagine that his prose is going to be more along the lines of the longest running fan fiction thing, the Loud House fan fiction that's like
man.
millions and millions of words, and it's just like the scrawlings of a madman if you try to read it. That's what you assume when he's talking about fucking diners and chocolate
Yeah, that's
milk.
what I'm
and-
saying.
Well, it was hilarious because on Amazon, like pretty sure it's a full-length novel. It's the helicopter and billionaire dinosaur pound my belt, whatever.
I forgot the dinosaur was a billionaire.
There was you're damn right he is. How do you think he affords a helicopter? But it makes sense. They always do for some reason.
Of course.
But
it's because he's a genius.
one of like the only comments underneath was a guy who just said, "I hate how good of a story this is."
I feel like
God
probably
bless.
the number one reaction from everybody who reads anything of his that don't already know about Chuck Tingle as a meme is just the scene from Arrested Development where he pulls the bag with the dead dove in it out of the freezer, and it says, "Dead dove, do not eat," and he opens it up, and it's a dead dove. He's like, well, I don't know what I expected.
Yeah.
Pounded in the ass by a billionaire dinosaur pounded the ass by a helicopter. You open that up. Well, I don't know what I expected.
Yeah. It could have been a myriad of things, but it actually told me what it was, and I just didn't believe it.
Yeah, I'll get around to reading that one day. But not yet. Not yet.
I hate this. I hate all of this. I reject it. I reject it. Like
It's a very successful band, Tony.
More than I'll ever be. Goddamn.
He got a doctorate
No, he fucking didn't.
and a black belt.
Well, at the very least,
God.
apparently he's allowed to just say he's a doctor.
Yeah, no one's stopping that. There's no cease and desist or anything going on. He's just going with it, man. Like Dr. Phil.
If it is like a pen name, I don't see why they would stop you from being Doctor. When you make a story under a pseudonym, like specifically part of like the rules about that is that isn't who you are. That's who you're publishing under. So being a doctor, you're not even lying about being a doctor. You're lying about a man who doesn't exist being a doctor, which almost all writers do. You put a doctor in your story, you're lying about a fictional man being a doctor, aren't you?
Yeah. That's how that goes. Some people say cucumbers taste better pickled.
Yeah. So that's about all I got.
I have a question.
On the Tingler.
I have a question that's complete, out of left field subject change. Are we on board with that?
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you guys think potions taste like?
Oh,
Yeah.
they're viscous.
Yeah, a
like
little
it's
thick.
very. It's gonna taste like
NyQuil thick?
yeah, thicker, even thicker. Like it's hard to take it down unless you're used to it.
Right.
I imagine that your first potion does not go down smooth.
No.
And then you're kind of braced for it.
Depending on what it is. So if it's like magic, like pure magic or something, like I imagine a healing potion would taste red.
Right.
Yeah.
You know? And then like a mana potion would taste blue.
Yeah, easily.
And then like those are the only things that taste like that.
So
yeah, and then all of D&D.
And
The
then-
the not cherry flavor and the not Arctic raspberry flavor.
Yeah, and then you can't like explain what that flavor is, but you know it's red or blue.
Yeah.
So I had in my head a little bit that like a health potion would have like an almost metallic kind of taste, sort of like
Iron.
irony blood. Yeah.
I could get that.
Whereas mana had like an almost electric current going through it.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, tingly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like blue raspberry.
But of the stories that I've read, they whenever like somebody describes like how potions taste, they either like describe them as being like very fruity or they're outright the most disgusting thing.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground where it's like, meh. So in one of the stories I'm writing, potions are like a necessary part of like how some of the people exist. And I'm really trying to find what the fuck would people if people needed to drink these?
Uh-huh.
Certainly they would try to like make them more palatable.
Yeah.
This is a long way to go about saying, what do you think are the ingredients of wizard lean?
So you can wizard trip? Oh, man. Okay, so let's break down what lean actually is.
Yep, that's Sprite, sometimes Jolly Ranchers, and typically some of the Tussin.
So the Jolly Ranchers, I feel you can substitute with any sort of like hard candy. Like I like to imagine it would be funny to have like a bit and like a story of like the wizard goes on down to the candy shop and people are just like, oh yeah, I know what he's getting, piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're getting candy for your apprentice? No, we know that candy's for you, old man.
Candies for making
Wait,
your potions into.
There's codeine.
It's codeine. That's what it is.
Yeah, okay.
Codeine's in Robitussin, right?
I don't think so.
Maybe not anymore. I don't know.
Regardless, cough medicine. You want codeine and dextriptan that helps you trip. That's what robo-tripping is. And
Yeah, what a terrible idea. Doesn't that just destroy your liver?
it destroys your brain.
That's even worse.
Like, I think it's Lil Wayne who, like, he can't fly on planes anymore because if he goes over a certain altitude, he just starts having seizures.
Oh, man. My man did it too hard, too long.
Yeah. If it's not him, and that is inaccurate, then obviously you have my apologies, Lil Wayne. You're an incredible musician. But hopefully not robo-tripping so hard that you're having seizures on planes.
Yeah, one can hope. Fuck, bro.
I would imagine you just pick like a trippy illusion spell or something
Yeah.
and put that into like a potion, maybe with like some alcohol.
Just
in there.
a wizard who's just like laying in like a massive like opium den, but instead of having like the big long opium pipes, it's his own wand that he's shooting into his eyes.
That's a really good bit.
Like you could, and then depending on the style of illusion magic, if it can also cause sensory, like feelings.
Everyone knows that the College of Illusions are a bunch of druggies.
Oh, man.
That's a good bit. I'm writing that down.
Hallucinate.
If you had the option to just give yourself an acid trip, like, would you?
If I was bored, absolutely.
I mean, let me tell you right
if you're in
now.
your fortress of wizardry, like complete safety, like let your hair down, take your shoes off.
I totally advocate wizard weed. Wizard weed is definitely a thing that exists.
Yeah, too. I mean, you could put some like natural hallucinogens in there too and stuff, and then like the illusion magic could be your like self-appointed like spirit guide, so it doesn't you don't have a bad trip.
You
I
make
love that.
your familiar's just all pissed off because it's always having to sober sit you. Get out of here, dragon! And it's just like a newt who's just like looking at him, licking its eyeball, being like, "You have to listen, Quandavius. You can. You're not in a dungeon." And it's like, "Shut the fuck up, dragon."
I like the idea of a wizard screening his apprentices by which ones are narcs or not.
Yeah.
Like, you look like a narc. Do you want to be my apprentice? Why would you want to be my apprentice, you narc? And then he's like, get out of here!
Everyone wants to work for the wizard Quandavius, but you have to pass a series of trials. And then it goes to like one of the trials, and he's just sitting there, and he's like, "You smoke weed?" And the kid's like, no. And he just like looks at him. Get the fuck out.
First trial failed.
Well, I don't know. I like the idea of like he's chill, Master Wizard, and then like he's like dosing their drinks with like minor illusion or something, and then, and then if they can't handle it,
Just
it's just
do
like
it.
can't even handle minor illusion over here.
The
Like,
Dave Chappelle bit. Dave, I didn't know you like to get wet. But you're just dosing your fucking apprentices?
Quandavius, what did you do?
It's just a minor illusion, kid. I'll see you in a couple hours.
So fucking good! Like, calling it a minor illusion is really fucking funny to me, dude. Guy can't even handle a minor illusion.
you gotta learn how to handle your shit, kid.
All wizards need to go through illusion training. Otherwise, you'll never know what's real and what's not.
I like to imagine like a get-together, a cabal of these wizards getting together just to exchange their various illusions they made that are just drugs.
Oh,
Yeah.
I call this one Phantasmagoria.
So the fucking like dosing the kids and stuff, and it's just like, how do you think you're gonna peer into the ether if you can't even handle a little illusion, kid? Like,
It's such a good bit. I just imagine he's like glued to his chair, mind fried, and there's like frogs falling from the sky, and the wizard's face is now like a toadblat looking motherfucker, and he's like, "You think this is a trip? You don't know what a trip is."
I imagine he does that, and the kid is just like frozen in the chair, just like... And then he's like, he's going to be like this for a couple hours. This is the real reason we have these orbs. You put it in front of him, he looks like he's studying, right?
Yeah, pondering that orb, all right.
Pondering the orb, and he's just trying to not die.
no, it's just like he looks like he's freaking out. This'll help, and it's a crystal ball, but it's got like the fucking strobe, like
Yeah.
Look, like you look at
Plasma ball,
yeah, when you're fucking tripping balls, like those are so fascinating.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, that'll calm him down. Like,
It keeps the wizard's
Was
mind
it-
and soul centered so that they may focus more purely on the magic.
yeah, but like archmages getting together and it's the Venture Bros bit where they just all take like ayahuasca or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's all like in spell scrolls, like.
Yeah, then they have the one guy like who's like Brock is trying to get advice or about like whether he should feel bad about killing that guy, and then, like, the crazy wizard is just like, one time I met a dolphin, and then I got the dolphin, and then I fucked the dolphin. He's just like, what does that mean?
Hot dolphin!
Wow. Dude, Venture Bros is too good.
Venture Brothers was
Also, another
spectacular.
favorite part of that bit for me is like everyone is throwing up except Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just that much of a Chad.
He throws up he almost throws up once, and then presumably he throws up while he's fully in like the Red Sea riding a pink dolphin. Presumably he's mid hallucinogen throwing up at that point, but otherwise he's the only one who's just like chatting through it. The poisons.
Yeah.
Extract of the death vine. So what's the black tar heroin of wizards?
Oh man.
Polymorph.
Because you just become something else entirely.
Yeah.
Is that your logic there?
Yeah.
Like you literally become a rat for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Like...
You now have rat thoughts, so you don't have to worry about higher-brained wizard things. You just turn it all off, be like a rat or a frog or something for a little while.
Fuck, bro.
You hit 0 health, you pop right back up.
just become dog brain for like a whole hour. Just you're a dog now. You're worried about dog things.
Yeah.
Or
I'm gonna go get some butterfly poon.
Or the fucking evil wizard who made like a circlet or like a hat or something, or just wires you stick onto your head. And he's so good at like electric magic that it only gives you a little jolt right to the pleasure center of the brain. But everyone knows once you put that on, there ain't no going back.
There ain't no going back.
That's
Totally stealing that from fucking Ringworld, where he's a wirehead and has that like exact setup.
I mean,
science.
that is the end game of drugs, where it's like fully now it's just a pleasure button that has no limits. That's at that point I don't know if you can keep being a person.
Which you know about them? They did that with mice.
Yeah, it kills them.
Yeah,
Brutal.
have you heard it?
I think I remember hearing about this.
The mouse just keeps hitting the button as fast as it can.
Until its brain cooks because the electrode is just always.
Man.
Yeah.
Does that get sent into Valhalla? Rat Valhalla? Mouse Valhalla?
If mice have Valhalla,
I think
then
he was in Valhalla.
I was gonna say, like, if they have a heaven, then it's going to fall short.
Damn, that's how good it felt.
It's literal just pleasure.
Yeah.
Like,
Only pleasure. There's no other emotion that comes from it. There's no thinking like, oh, what if I need to be sober enough to drive? None of that. There's no, oh, I hope that like maybe like I don't get a hangover. None of that. Oh, I wonder how people are going to... None of that. Only pleasure. Turn it on. Tap all the way open until you're a fried mouse in Mouse Valhalla thinking this sucks now.
Riding on a dragon? Yeah!
I think that would be like that forbidden like fruit for spellcasters.
You know what? Concept. Use that as a torture.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a reverse torture, because I'm torturing you by giving you the most blissful experience. You don't even want to leave. You're just stuck in this room with this circlet on, and then when your friends come to spring you and they take it off, you hate them now.
Yeah.
That is a very, very...
You'll never be as happy as when
Faustian.
I was torturing you.
It's the mayonnaise.
Yeah.
It's what?
It's the mayonnaise.
Yeah. It's the mayonnaise.
The mayonnaise? Hold up.
The mayonnaise you put addictive drugs into in your campaign. You guys did that, right?
We were going to.
Oh, well, okay.
Oh, yeah. We were thinking about doing this because we have the alchemy jug is the best item we made.
And then they got a second alchemy jug because their first alchemy jug they put a genie in.
Yeah, what a cursed existence.
They beat his ass, and then he was like, I'll give you a wish. And they were like, well, I wish you'd get in this fucking jug, bitch. And he was like,
Yeah. And we specifically tuned it to mayonnaise, so he's stuck in a jar of mayonnaise.
yeah, he's stuck in the mayonnaise zone.
What a fucking nightmare. What a terrible thing we did to that poor genie.
Yeah.
And we're the good... This is one of the campaigns where we're the good guys.
He was an evil genie. I mean, you know, he came to kill you.
Yeah, Afraid are not good.
Yeah, they're awful evil.
He came to kill you, so, you know... But also, yeah, you guys are supposed to be good guys.
You know, I mean, it's a wretched existence, but I wouldn't say it's actual torture.
I mean,
It's him
Omi...
getting his comeuppance.
Omi's in basically the same situation. They probably...
Okay, Omi is just me being a little bit evil. Yeah. Lavender's chaotic neutral, and I'm able to do... That's what my justification is.
So,
are you familiar with Omi?
So,
oh, man.
Essentially, I made a character who was a warforged... He was a cleric of the goddess of probability and math. And because their party was in extreme debt many years ago, he was trying to abuse his connection to her to get an edge on gambling. And because he did that, he was forsaken by her. She took all of his cleric powers away. But he was still just addicted to gambling because, you know, gambling can be addictive. And so he eventually ended up gambling so hard that, like, he lost everything, and then they took his body, and he was just like a head and a right hand connected by wires. And they, like, put him on dog bodies, make him fight guys, and, like, yeah, it's just horrible shit. But he ended up becoming a villain who and got, like, a new body that gave him karate powers. And then because he was evil... they beat his ass, and as punishment, Tony's Artificer character took his body and then just, like, forcibly artificed it into a go-kart type deal with just his head on it. So he he got turned into Speed Buggy against his will.
Yeah. So now my pimp wagon on Lavender is Speed Buggy.
Yeah.
But it's like complaining and whining and being very mad about being Speed Buggy.
Yeah.
Because he's actually a man.
Yeah.
He's
And
supposed to be a man.
when he's not in use, they put him in the bag of holding, which is fine. He doesn't need to breathe. And they've asked him, like, what do you think about your life now? And all that he says is, like, he's like, I'm a robot. I'm immortal. When you guys die, I'll be doing donuts on your grave. Like,
yeah. And I'm like, shut up, homie. And then
you
like,
don't know.
You don't know. Yeah. We're the good guys.
He was a dick. He was a murder. Like, he murdered, like, 20 people.
Once again, he got his comeuppance.
Yeah.
We're not torturing people. We're punishing them. There's a difference.
Yeah. D&D is a fun game.
It's a good
You
creative
can
outlet.
let a lot of silly things happen, even if you're trying to take it pretty seriously.
My favorite thing about D&D that I've noticed, and I think it goes to just, it's more indicative of the people that I hang out with and who like wants to play with me, the game with me.
Mm-hmm.
When I've DM'd, every group has adopted one of the NPCs they were supposed to like be slaying.
Oh, people love adopting.
Yeah,
NPCs.
wait, they take a guy and they interrogate him, and he begs for his life, and they feel bad for him. And he's like, well, he's probably had a really rough lot in life, man. Like, look at him hanging out with these vagabonds. He seems like a nice guy. And then they have an NPC named Twix, who becomes, like, their liaison to the dragons. And it's literally happened. All three groups of Kilden have adopted an NPC.
So,
Well, that bunny we got, I was gonna betray him so fast.
Oh, the one in Darkening campaign?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he doesn't speak English, poor guy.
oh no.
Yeah, he only speaks Lapine, and so the premise of that, kind of spoilers, but we'll probably pick it up. We probably won't, but they encountered because the whole loft caravan thing. I was trying to flesh that out.
Right.
So they
They're
encountered
sort of nomadic caravan people.
Yeah, and they encountered like an abandoned caravan that had been ambushed on the road because they're in Nihilioth of the Demon City, the Devil City. So why are you here, Bunny? You're in the wrong part of town. And so there's everyone was dying, but there was one that was still hanging on to his last leg, and they healed him up. And he was so grateful, and he's speaking basically in foreign language.
Well,
Yeah, exactly. They have no idea what he's saying, but they start pantomiming.
Right.
They start drawing out diagrams and stuff. And then he ends up showing that the cart is magical. It draws itself, so it doesn't need any carriage animals. They're like, oh, neat, cool cart. And then they manage to somehow communicate that yeah, we'll help you find the rest of your people if you help us get to the town.
Because he asked in broken, common to Luckregard, friend? And Luckregard immediately is just like, yeah, I'm definitely your friend. And just making all the most friendly motions and all the and he just has such a high charisma that it just it got through.
Luckregard was Colonel Sanders, and Colonel Sanders is the gnome.
Yeah.
Aesthetically. He had a much more involved and intricate backstory than that. I actually really wanted to see that flesh out more.
Never got an opportunity.
Yeah.
Does anyone here know the backstory of Colonel Sanders?
I know that he tried to sell his chicken recipe for a very, very long time.
Yeah, he was super old when he actually started KFC.
Until this moment, was pretty much under the assumption that he was fictional.
No, he's a real guy.
No, he's a real guy.
He actually dressed like that.
When I was working in sales, one of my sales managers constantly talked about Colonel Sanders and how long it took him to sell his chicken recipe. Then he finally did it, and then he made a shit ton of money. And he said, "Don't hold out. Don't sell yourself short. You never know what you just got to keep on grinding and keep on moving, and eventually you'll find something." And I was like, "That's kind of inspirational, but
once you got your herbs and spices,
yeah, basically, yeah, he knew that he had a good recipe. He knew that it was a good thing.
Right.
He just couldn't find anyone who believed in it until he did, and then now it's a successful chain of restaurants."
Which, Kevin, have I ever explained Luckregard to you?
No, I don't think so.
Luckregard Bonheur.
So, looks like Colonel Sanders.
Right.
Wears robes.
Well, it looks like most of Colonel
He wears basically a suit. Yeah. And then he talks with my attempt at, the Southern gentleman accent.
Right.
It's like, Luckregard Bonheur. At your service. And his whole thing is that he's not a gnome. He's a changeling.
Yes.
And Luckregard is his primary assumed persona, which he's basically a swindler. And
So does he have a real identity, or is he more of like a John Carpenter's The Thing type entity?
so he has a horrible backstory of being terribly abused, and then until one day he's a sorcerer. He got access to magic.
Oh.
But his original identity is he doesn't remember, or they don't really have a gender. He can be either, but they don't know what their actual name was because once they were sold, it didn't matter.
Right.
And he was too young. And then he just got the nickname Lurk because he was always lurking.
Always lurking.
And to interrupt real quick, changelings in Kael'dan are typically taken advantage of because they're very rare.
Right.
The way a changeling comes about is they have prisms in their blood, either through copulation with the crystal dragon, or one of his descendants, or some fey magic shenanigans. But regardless, the ability to it's hereditary.
Right.
So like a lot of folks will end up abusing them in order to because that's a very powerful thing to be able to fuck you want when you want to. So most changelings live their entire lives in hiding because they know this. And funnily enough, I had 3 characters that were changelings and all came to the same conclusion when I gave them that about like my character's backstory is fucked or at least extremely sad.
That's kind of interesting because, you know, like the folklore of changelings is that they are actually the predatory ones.
I like to see. I really enjoy flipping folklore on its head. I that's one thing that really like tickles. Like part of the inception of Kael'dan and the Goblin War is Goblin Slayer came out, and that opening pilot was a doozy.
Yeah.
And it was very controversial, and there's a lot of like backlash about like this is extremely racist in the worst possible ways. I'm of the opinion that if a universe establishes that such thing is just a monster and should be treated as such, then that's just it. Don't compare it to other versions of that creature in different universes. They're not comparable. It's apples and oranges.
Right.
So in Goblin Slayer's universe, yeah, those are for slaying. The whole point of that IP is that these things are terrible and need to be slain. And this guy only does that.
It's like demons in Freerun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, Freeman's racist. No, demons aren't people. Like, they make it very clear that they're not people. They're fucking monsters.
They only look like us so that they can be our
trick
predators.
us.
Yeah.
They look like us and act like us to trick us. And if this is the standard and they proved it, okay, yeah, blast them, kill on sight, fuck them. But I remember reading on Reddit how like some guy had commented that like, oh, you know, it would be interesting to see an IP or a setting where goblins are treated like scum, but it's like due to misconception or just like propaganda or just like they're just people, but they just get a bad rap, and that bad rap has forced them into a situation where they have to be shitty.
Right.
And I thought, why haven't I seen that before? And that's why I'm writing the Goblin War. Is literally like if any of you ever read my book when it comes out, you'll notice very quickly that like most of the actual villains aren't fucking goblins. A specific certain someone just keeps saying they're goblins. Mm-hmm. That's a whole point of what I'm writing, is that you whatever's on the table plays, man. Like, it doesn't matter if the record is the correct song or not. Whatever's on the table plays. That's just how it fucking goes, man. It's fucked, but that's how it goes.
Back to Luckregard.
Yes.
Yeah, so Luckregard is the persona where he is confidence itself.
Right.
He has high charisma. He's a what is it?
Divine soul.
He gets to use some cleric spells, basically. And then his whole thing is that like he's favored by the gods, and so like he just gets special abilities and stuff like as they progress or whatever. So that's his main persona, is just the mischievous little gnome who believes he can convince anyone of anything.
And given his charisma score, he might be right.
If
I heard that
had more levels,
yeah.
like I would have had like a persuade of like fucking like plus 11 or something.
Oh my god!
And I could have like added rolls to it and shit with abilities and stuff.
I love characters like Luckregard as a DM because it gives me an excuse to let the party talk their way or shenanigans their way out of encounters. Like, one of my favorite encounters that I did with you guys was when you guys were in Goblibnob, the Goblin City, and there was the Archmage that was like passed out on the couch because they did too much drugs. and you guys woke them up rudely, and they started combat. The level of a level 9 spellcaster.
Right. They interrupted her major illusion.
Yeah, it's basically what happened. Yeah, fuck, that's good. That's a good bit right there. Just trancing on your own illusion, and then someone breaks your concentration. Combat started. But yeah, opening move was time stop. Mario's instantly like, we can't handle this, guys. We're like level 6. We can't handle this.
Yeah.
And then I forgot what it was, but turn 1, it's Ram Darkhorn, and he's like, "Hey, do you want some eggs and bacon?" Basically, and there was a moment, there was a beat. I make a secret roll. I make a Constitution save. I give her a Constitution save to see how hungry she is after her fucking drug trip.
Right.
And yeah, she was hungry.
She's been strung out for days.
So the answer was yeah, all right. And then combat ended because she wants the eggs and bacon. I don't think it was actually eggs and bacon, but it might as well have been eggs and bacon. Yeah. And I anytime as a DM that I can allow my players to shenanigans their way out of conflict or choose non-violent methods to solve conflict, I am happier for it.
Which, yeah, that was the whole point of Leprechaun, is he was functionally a non-combatant.
Yeah.
His whole thing was just that, I'm going to talk my way out of anything, because I can do that.
And, like, yeah, I think, I had a lot of stuff planned for that. I had a lot of stuff planned to have you basically, like, I'm going to give him a chance. Every NPC is going to at least give this man a moment to say his piece, and if the dice are with him, the dice are with him. If they're not, they're not.
It's my understanding that there were several occasions where they were not.
Well, some of them were like, even no matter how well I rolled, he wasn't going to convince them.
Right.
The Fey monster.
Oh yeah, Puff
was going to attack us either way.
I loved Puff. I used that.
I remember Puff.
Yeah, Puff. Yeah. Puff was a great archer.
And then I never got. There was never opportunity for it. But the whole thing was that he had 2 other main personas. One which was Valmont Laurel Thane, who was a very haughty elf man. He pretended to be nobility and would just be very snappish and demanding, and that was going to be his persona. That like he would go around like if he needed to and would just like demand information and shit from people or whatever. And because he had such a high charisma score, like people would just feel as though they had to obey. And then the third persona is just like, shit, bad stuff's happening, I gotta get out of here. That's Nanny Grog, which he would turn into an old, hobbled-looking old woman who sells grog.
That's excellent.
He's just running away, like, from guards and stuff, and then as soon as he rounds the corner, the guards, like, round the corner, they smash in the door, and it's like, they see a little old lady, and they're like, did you see a gnome pass through here? And she's just like,
milk and cookies?
I'm just an old lady.
Yeah.
She's just an old lady. Of course she didn't see anything.
And that's the laying low persona.
And as they're turning around, just like the old lady is like creeping forward with a knife, just oh yes, I'll grab you something to drink right here.
That's so good.
And so the thing I was waiting for was there be an opportunity when we're just like, we had like free time, and then Luckgard would just go off on his own to do something, and then I'd like round a corner or something, and then the plan was to shock everyone by being like, and now I'm going to shapeshift. Because I don't think anyone knew I was a changeling.
We had that going for a few campaigns where the changelings. It's interesting how many people want to play a changeling and be like, no one knows I'm a changeling. It's important that no one knows I'm a changeling.
Right. I mean, you know the internet thing about changelings, right?
No.
Oh, it's that's like if somebody's like comes to the D&D table being like, I want to play a changeling, like the very first like the reaction is just like the voice going over it, gay.
It's really fucking dumb. That's really fucking dumb.
I mean, I never have made such an intricate backstory for a character before. So,
Man,
something to that.
That's so flattering. So many people went all out on my D&D setting. I feel like such a jackass for like dropping those campaigns. I need to port my shit to fucking Foundry, but I'm so damn lazy.
Foundry spectacular program.
Last thing about Luckgard was that due to the traumas, if we were ever captured, I would have to start making rolls.
see if
he can keep his shit
the
together.
PTSD doesn't.
And then if I rolled poorly enough, like eventually he can't maintain that form anymore, and now he's going to revert back to lurk, which is going to, depending on where we were and if he had trusted anyone enough to tell them, like that would probably freak out the party.
What an intricate role-playing character. And then we had fucking Seki by a giant grappler from fucking...
Yeah. He's a man from a karate manga whose entire personality is professional wrestling is real fighting.
Which, I helped him arm wrestle a dragon.
That was probably one of the most hype things I ever had the chance to DM, because it was supposed to be me, like... That was me trying to be like, you guys are in... You know, some of these encounters are going to be too big to chew off, so you guys might get humbled a few times. I'm the DM. I'm doing a power move right now. CR-18 Sea Dragon just metamorphosed into a fucking sea serpent and offered its tail to arm wrestle you. Because they were a twink kobold, and they were like talking all this shit. Yeah. Well, our lovely listeners don't know about the twink kobold.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a twink kobold named Donna who was basically being smug and smarmy, and I forgot exactly how it came up, but like for intel. You guys wanted intel, and they're like, well, you have to pay me. You guys don't have enough money. And they're like, okay, well, how about you arm wrestle me? And Sekibaya was like, oh, I'm a fucking professional wrestler. Of course I'll arm wrestle you. And then, yeah, they were actually a sea dragon the whole fucking time.
Right.
So they shoot out their fucking long-ass tail, and then, yeah, Luckerguard pops up the guidance, that fucking +4.
Kick him under the table real quick.
That fucking +4, man, and it was just enough to have that fucking tail get slammed onto the goddamn table. And he got the pussy afterwards. The dragon pussy.
Yeah, because then the dragon thought Sekibaya was real cute after that.
Yeah, that was going to be one of your bigger informants. I actually had a whole arc planned where there was going to be a Coliseum, and now that happened, that was going to be your patron. They were going to like find you after the next mission or two. They were going to like find you, have you go back to the garden and be like, oh yeah, I want to sponsor you guys in the Coliseum, and then it was going to be basically Sekibaya doing this Coliseum thing while you guys are like around the Coliseum getting information and doing your own encounters. Okay. God, I love D&D.
D&D's a
lot. I need to fucking fix my Foundry so I can start DMing again, man. It's just, it's a lot.
Get all the stuff over, and then it's a lot.
It's a lot.
DMing's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and I'm still butthurt that like I have to do. This is the third time me porting my entire shit into something.
Yeah.
But I guess I have to fucking pick some time and just do it, because I do love doing it, and I want to start doing character work again, and that's like the best way. I got really good at character work when I was DMing, because you have to.
You have to, yeah.
So, all right, well, with that, we're going to end it here. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe on YouTube at my channel Fanfare. And if you have any ideas for an episode, go ahead and shoot them to me at The Smug Grape on Twitter. And with that, have a great night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.